now stands before you, was caught red-handed showing
feelings. Okay, so Echo, turn on speaker testing. Ta-da. Unsanctioned, unnecessary, unscripted, which they were all unscripted, but I think this is going on the second channel. A thing has happened, so I'll give you real quick. Speaker testing area, mostly safe for work wallpapers. It's time off. I'm going to Florida in like 2 days. No reason to do anything. I was just watching Orb. And a couple days ago, I was swapping through DACs because I did the DAC testing thing where I was testing the KN, AHA 8 DAC, whatever. And this is the DAC testing area, which is the Mons, Platamon Supermon Minis. The Acoustics Supermon Minis on the Orchard Audio amps, on whatever DAC with the Cali sub. This is DAC testing. Because it's big, soft, there's no hard surfaces, the poles don't reflect too much. And I can actually tell the difference between DACs here. And so it means I gotta swap DACs, things, whatever. And my permanent, high-end, favorite speaker listening setup. Am I going to shock something? This is I might shock something, so I need to touch that metal. Actual Platamons, Acoustics, hooked up to the big Orchard Audio, an old Ultra. Leo just gave me an old Ultra, and that is being fed with signal from this topping DX9. And that's basically why you don't see the DX9 in my videos, because it sits here under brushes and puffins and things with the boot cards. And that. So that feeds that, which feeds that. But that, which is the Matrix Audio Expeditive 3, is the only thing currently hooked up to the computer that runs this whole setup. I got this little Optiplex from my friend Dan. I yanked all the fans out and replaced them with Noctuas, so it's this loud. There actually is still noise, mostly because I didn't pull out the fan of the power supply, because it's like that big, and it's a Dell power supply, so it's not normal. But anyway, USB from computer to Expeditive, which then gives me a bunch of digital outputs. I got the AAS going to that, and then I have a splitter on the not the fiber optic, a splitter, literally just a physical RCA splitter on the coaxial digital, which works, by the way, even with like 12-foot runs. And I got one split going to a little DAC back here, a little SU1, which then goes over to the Go rack here as one of the inputs, and that can use the big HSU subwoofer with this setup. Or if I put on my surround sound, then there's another wire that's XLR coming here, whatever. The point is, I have multiple systems in this space. And this system is my I'm here to enjoy, listen to music system, and this system is I'm here to assess DAC's system. And of course, I've run them both simultaneously because I'm an asshole. And it never works because there's a timing difference. You know, sound happens there and sound happens here, and they're off. They're either at the same time, which means you got a crazy delay from those. And by crazy, I mean the speed of sound from there to my face versus there to my face. Or if your DAC is slow, if you're using an R2R DAC, it's real delayed. What? I'm doing a video. Drake doesn't give a shit. Come on, join me. Come on, dance around or something. You were running. I heard it before. Anyway, so the whole point of me putting on this video is I think something happened perfectly. And when something happens perfectly, you turn the fucking camera on. Because this happened yesterday is when I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. And then today I just started watching or finished the last 4 episodes of Orb up to episode 21 on the movements of the earth. Blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. But I'm listening to music. I have my special playlist, Hyper Nearfield playlist. All these songs are songs that when I'm testing here do this wild thing where I could hear depth, right? Because most music is just recorded like shit. You have to accept that. So when you find a particular like track, especially for some weird shit like this, where I'm sitting down and you can just ignore those and just feel like this wild thing of sound, I had a playlist. And so I have the remote control here for the topping DX9, and here is the very special D90 discrete DAC, the one with the window on the top, the crazy $1,000 one. And I think this is where it comes in. I'm using II2S into this. So there is a bit of delay. Not a lot, just a bit. And whatever the delay is for this to process and make sound is slower than it is on the AES going into the DX9. So for whatever magical fucking reasoning, those speakers, the faraway Platimons, are making sound, and then this is being processed microseconds later, and then it's going to the sub and the amps and making sound here, and they're in sync. Not the band NSYNC. I could put on the band NSYNC. But I'm just here to point out that this experience and what I'm able to do with it destroys everything I've ever heard in an audio show ever. And everyone's always like, oh, your cable's $50,000. Make sure your room acoustics are the best, which is important. More than $50,000 cables is make sure your room acoustics are great, which this basement actually is great room acoustics because the ceiling for 2,800 square feet is R20 something insulation because it didn't used to be heated down here. But I'm listening to 4 speakers playing the same source, well, 2 and 2, and 2 subwoofers, because this subwoofer here is on this system and actually cutting off the frequencies, because that's the Cali 6.2, which means only 80 hertz is coming here. Below 80 hertz goes there. But the big HSU, the 15-inch sub, is taking the real low notes, which is over there. So that's on its own little delay, which is on its own DAC. But when I'm playing music now, so the whole point of this is if I put on, and so this is just, I'm not going to get a copyright for HQ Sounds Countryside Summer Evening, which I got off of freesounds.org. Go to freesound or freesounds.org. You can just download people's, it's a website for people who are on a different end of the audio spectrum. You know, we're into the reproduction of pre-recorded music, and they're into the recording of things and stuff, whether it's countrysides or a grandfather clock or tanks driving around in a fucking field. They just go out there with $35,000 in equipment to record it obsessively. So I'm just going to use that as the playing track here because it will work. That and also Epic Score maybe. So what's happening now is I can mute. I've just muted the far speakers. And I could, well, technically, if I put batteries in this, I could mute this, but I could just lower it down. And then I could unmute far. There's my far setup. Dog barking over there. So, when you describe sound to someone or sound stage or how good speakers should work, you should have the imaging across, which gives you the accuracy there. So in other words, a bad set of speakers in a bad room with a bad source will sound like left channel speaker, maybe a center image if it's mono and they're perfectly distanced, and then right channel speaker. But a really good setup, and the reason I spent the money on the Platimons is because they image perfectly, like infinite numbers of degrees between the two. And not only across, real good speakers in a real good room should have depth. And it's not quite as obvious with the far speakers, but these near field speakers, if we turn this back up and mute the far speakers, but here, when you're basically wearing speakers as fucking headphones, depth becomes much more of a thing. And that's how I really judge DACs, is if it sounds like it's plain and across here, like there was a JDS Labs DAC that I just didn't like, the balanced one. It was flat and boring and flat. And only when I heard that and then went to something like the discrete DAC here or the KN with the tubes, can you actually sense a difference in the way a DAC is producing, not the frequency response. Frequency should always measure good with a DAC. They could plug it into a machine. It goes, we made it make this. Did it make this? Okay, did it make this? What's the percentage of distortion? Small. Okay, great DAC. But it's lacking the information of depth, which is a perceived thing that only human brains can figure the fuck out. So with just these speakers and a solid DAC, I can't say, okay, it's just coming from here. It sounds like it's coming 3 or 4 feet back over there. So now we get to this. I want to call it quadraphonic, but that was a weird 70s thing where they put 2 speakers behind you, which is probably still freaking awesome. I could put on those. But what's happening now is I am able to bias via volume knob between the topping DX9 and the far Platimons and the discrete DAC between the Supermon minis. And I'm now able to completely lower this all the way, like the -50, unmute that, play my normal, I am enjoying birds on these $6,000 speakers. Like, oh, it's so big and beautiful. And then slowly turn this up. And you start noticing around 25 dB down. That dog barking isn't happening far away. It's happening closer. Just the smallest amount closer. And as you turn this volume knob, that dog barking or the singer singing or the vocalist. And now I'm being overwhelmed by these speakers at 11 dB. Now it's like it's here. We're right here. Much like when you're tuning a subwoofer to blend in with a system like this subwoofer, if you wanted to blend it in, is you play your music, that's something you know, and you turn the volume way up on the sub, and you hear the sub, and you go, no. Okay, now you turn it down until you don't hear the sub. Then you turn it back up till you just hear the sub, and then you turn it back down until you're not sure. The ultimate position for a subwoofer is existing in a space, and you're not sure if it's on until you turn it off. Then it's like, oh, fuck, it's missing that. So there's a perfect balance point of, in this case, a subwoofer, it would be where the low end takes over from the speakers. But now, what I'm experiencing is I'm able to take the faraway speakers over there and literally through the act of having a whole other multi-$1,000 speaker setup, and I'm sure you could do this with cheaper shit. Ignore the fact this is all expensive. It would be all a matter of getting the timing right. But with speakers that are near field and 2 speakers that are far field, and then slowly raising just the volume of the nearer speakers, I'm dragging the sound closer. And it's not just the sound, it's the clarity, because this tweeter is that far from my ear, and that one's like, 10.5 feet. So of course the detail is getting lost because it's going yet. So it's like I'm refocusing it. It's like when you get one of those shitty LED flashlights from Costco and you turn the knob and it focuses into this pure beam. And this is pure beam mode. And that's big, wide, broad mode. And I can turn it to be halfway between. So if I go, and it's weird because it just so happens that that's on -15 dB and this is on -15 dB. And I found it's either -15 to -17. I now have this, instead of having a bar across those 2 speakers and then maybe a little front and back, or a bar across these 2 speakers and maybe a little front and back, this entire fucking space is now a playground for sound. Because the timing that's happening here to align these 2 speakers and my head happens to be perfect. I didn't hook up a mini DSP and started fucking with the 1 millisecond. I don't even know what kind of millisecond response you'd need to tune this. I may not be able to recreate this with like another setup and an actual digital, delay the sound 0.01 seconds. Might not be enough of a fucking detail. It might need 0, 1, 2, 3. Whatever is happening right now, they're in line. They're perfectly in line. And as I twist between either raising or lowering the far speakers and raising or lower the close speakers, there is no overlap. It's just a movement of sound. This knob literally makes the sound go far away as I lower these and closer as I raise this. And it is the wildest. It's enough to put a fucking camera on my head and start talking about it, because too much here. It's like I'm physically moving the countryside that's 25 feet tall and 200 feet wide, forward and backwards 10 feet. Granted, it's only 10 feet because that's literally the space between the speakers. But that's an impressive fucking thing. Like, I can't describe what's happening more than just like, oh my God, what? This is the kind of shit I want to see people doing. This is hi-fi. This is what I dream of in hi-fi. It's not like slightly better. Oh, this speaker's slightly better. Oh, this is slightly better. It's methodology and madness. It's if you can up your methodology into some madness and then get results like this, the future of audio will be saved. I'm sure some motherfucker will put out a gaming chair that's like, oh, we got 75. I sat in that cube at CES last year. That was like, you sit into, it was semi-sphere. Oh, it's got 37 DSP corrected speakers. Sounded like shit. That was like a $10,000 or $12,000 chair. And granted, this setup here with the steel fucking things and the amps isn't cheap, but it's doing a way better job. Just this setup on its own than that CES stupid chair. So now we're integrating more like good, and I wonder if, like, would timbre change if I put a different pair of speakers here that has a little bit more of a warmth, and then I'll be blending that and this. It's like this is not. I hate when you go into an audio show and they've got 37 seats set up and there's no middle seat, because there's really only ever one perfect place to sit. This basement here is not designed to have my friends. If you sit here in the sad corner, you are not in the middle by far of anything. Because fuck you. Because a lot of times audio listening needs to become just about the one individual listening. And in the case right this second, I'm the one individual listening. And it's the coolest thing I've ever heard. And that's another thing. It should be cool. Not just the most, this is the highest fidelity, or this is there should be an interest in hearing all of your music. I hate when it does that. I should be able to put on this is Simgritina, Granny Smith, Summer in Ponywood. Anyway, this song goes on like it's like 2 minutes of straight real shit recording quality in like mono, and it actually kind of hurts to listen to. But then wait, it like fades in and out of like actual stereo and high quality, and I just love that transition. And here in this space now, with all four speakers going, that like nasally thing is only happening like close. Like the actual sound is moving from here 15 feet back through the wall and then reappearing. It's like, what the fuck is happening? So psychoacoustics is what we're basically talking about. Your ears can hear shit that isn't there, obviously. That's how stereo imaging works. It's like, well, we had a speaker there and we have a speaker there, so why can't I hear the sound in the middle? Because your brain is doing that. Your brain has two ears and it has timing and it knows. So it's just a matter of fucking with it. Yeah, it's such a cool fucking effect. I'm literally moving the string quartet. It's like I'm moving a physical slider in a video game and they're just getting closer. This sort of shit should be the stuff that's happening at audio shows. I'm tired of the 25-foot speakers that cost $600,000. Oh, and don't forget our $200,000 tube amps. Fuck all that. Granted, these are expensive components based on like the average what people buy. Like, I think that system alone is worth like $11,000 if you paid retail, just the far one. So that and plus this, I think is $2. Plus those would be another 2 is 4 is 5. 6 is like 6. Whatever. The point is you could do this with cheap shit. As long as you're doing something interesting with the sound and you're getting the timing right, which is the whole reason this is working now, and it hasn't for months. Even though those have been set up for months and these have been set up for months, it's just never worked. It is now working flawlessly. If something changed in the timing between this DAC and that DAC, it would break and I would lose it forever. I'm not even sure I could set this thing up in a hotel room to show somebody. This might only work here in my basement ever. It should be preserved by the National Archives. Like, quarantine this off and freeze all the components so nothing can move. It's added a third dimension literally to sound. Because there is 2 dimensions. It's basically, well, actually, is it just one dimension? Because I was talking about sounding deep and depthy. So there is technically a third dimension there. You have left and right. There's no up and down still. Although I have heard some shit in music that my brain is like, that just flew over my head, and there's no well, there are speakers up there, but we're not using those right now. In other words, if you could hear slightly more depth in a speaker, and that's what makes a speaker great, and that's what I think makes a good speaker great, is that I could hear further away. It's doing that extra little bit of dimensionality. This is 500% that. This is not like 20% better. This is legitimately, I just put another fucking pair of speakers 10 feet further ahead of me and timed it right. So now I got both subs on. I got 4 speakers on. I got 3 amps because there's mono blocks in the solid state, 2 DACs, a DAC splitter, and whatever fucking music I want. And then it... Like, my eyes, I'm trying to look where the sound is coming from. Because it should technically be coming from here. It's the closest thing. But I know that speaker's playing, and if I mute this... There's my normal speakers back there, the ones that I love, the ones I blow and love. But I've kind of ruined them now. Because if I wasn't listening on those, and I muted those, and I was listening on this... Can't play too much Madoka Magica. It's like, oh man, these sound fucking great. Great for testing DACs. And those sound fucking great. Great for listening to music. Put them on both at the same time. And now with the timing fucking lined up, we go to 16 here. It's a whole different... It's like, wow, that's everything I've ever dreamed of. And if I heard a single pair of speakers that did this, I would quit. Because something's wrong with my brain. Obviously, I have too many drugs. Or not enough drugs. Now the sound is real. So... I'm just trying to motivate people to try weird shit. Like, some people you don't have to do that to. Pud, you don't have to do that to Pud. He's already trying real weird shit. But no one's going to believe this until they hear it in my house. It is the finest of adjustments of timing and distance and environment and just... This is what fidelity should be defined as. The fidelity is like, how many points of sound can this man produce with this setup? In like billions, like 40 billion colors. It's like one of those displays that does 4 billion colors. And it's like, is that really necessary? And it isn't until you see it that you realize, oh shit, yes it is. Right? No one needed a 4K display until you saw 4K fucking nature documentaries and you were high and you were standing against the screen. You went, whoa, brah. It's going to be the same for 8K, which is fuck 8K. But, yeah, this feels like 8K music listening right now. As to put it in a perspective of someone who's not on drugs, this feels like I'm on drugs. It feels like I had 6 cups of coffee and just snorted all the marijuana in the fucking, in Memphis, Tennessee. And now I'm just listening to... I hesitate to even fathom any listening experience that could come close to this. Because I'm fucking with the narrative. The narrative is 2 speakers in a well-conditioned room with good quality and pastor, blah, 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 blah. No one in their right mind will do this. Except for me, because I'm not in my right mind. Let's put on Bronxville by Bob Mitzner. I don't. Where the fuck was that? That like came from over there. That's I gotta hear that again. Hold on. I'm gonna look at it. Wait. Yeah, it's like there's like an oboe or something over there. This is freaking me out. And I want it to freak you out that you're not hearing it and inspire you to do weird shit with 4 speakers and probably a cheap mini DSP or something you could adjust the time. Because if you just took a splitter and you went DAC A and DAC B and they had the same timing, this doesn't work. I know it doesn't work. The fact that and here's the thing, if I did have a different timing thing and you're willing to play with this, move the speakers. Move those speakers. I don't have the ability to do that. All this shit has to stay permanent. This just sort of lined up and is happening right now. If you're going to try to recreate what I'm talking about here, get a pair of speakers, put them far away, get them on a DAC and amp you can control remotely, get a near-field set of speakers, Swan OS 10, stick them on the thing. And then all you need to do is figure out how to adjust the timing digitally, and then you can move the speakers physically. Obviously, if I move these back 5 feet, it's going to eliminate a lot of the fucking joy of it having here versus there. So there's got to be a minimum amount of space for this to actually occur. But, fuck, man, do whatever it takes. Because I don't care how many hundreds of thousands of dollars people have spent on sound. I don't care what Wilson Audio does to adjust their boxes to be perfect. It's wrong. It's not far enough. Do you understand why this is an important fucking rant? It's because all that audiophile nonsense that we go to see and I'm going to go see in Florida in 2 days, none of it is enough. Not enough crazy, not enough speakers, not enough placement, not enough timing. It's all very like locked in this little safe space of no, just nicer speakers and just nicer cables and just nicer DACs and it's nicer. No, fuck nicer. Crazier. Get in my head. I know people who listen to headphones with speakers playing. That might actually be easier for you guys to try and attempt. If you could do the timing, because you'd have to delay the headphones, and you could do like near field speakers and then delay your headphones slightly so that they do happen at the same time, or if you're really close, it would sort of be fine without even any delay. And then you got to balance between the two volumes, the two tempers. And you might just catch like I know people use headphones with a subwoofer, which makes you an asshole, by the way, and you walk into someone's room and it's just bass and they're wearing headphones. Like, what the fuck's going on? Please, I'm begging you, you the people of the world, figure out something like this, because true happiness doesn't lie, and I spent a lot of money on speakers. True happiness happens by accident sometimes. And I'm just trying to give a little bit of insight into what the fuck's happening here, because this is it, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I have to review speakers now. I'm going to put a pair of speakers in front of me and listen to 2 speakers. It feels like I'm going to play fucking Pong on an Atari. Meanwhile, like, Gears of War 7 is what's sitting in front of me now. It's like, this is not even the closest thing to what I can consider enjoying music from now on. Anyway, that's been my rant on all this shit. This is just the endless complication that audiophiles will go through to try to find something great. And I'm all for this. That's the thing. I'm all for it. I just hope that someone else can whip this out in a cleaner, neater way. And please share the profits with me. I'm going to make sure to timestamp this video, date, copyright infringement. I guess you couldn't patent something like this. Maybe you could. To make a lot of money instantly, because those are like $30,000 patents. But yeah, no, this whole, like, I guess I can call this, let's see, I was just watching Orb, so they call it the heliocentric theory, the dual system centric theory, where you need multiple speakers at different depths. Like, I don't think a third one in the middle would make any, it doesn't matter, because I can literally move the sound between here and here with a volume knob, and that's only a half. And the thing is, that's only half decibel increments. So technically, I'd love if it was even more fine, because I only have about 8 positions between -15 and -17 dB, where I feel like I'm really moving it. So if it had even more, is the word finite? Adjustments? No, finite is time-based. I always get that fucking word wrong. If it had even more granular adjustments, 1/10 of a decibel, I could move the mix between it. I'm pretty happy with the way it is now, but I'm just saying. I guess I could also adjust the back ones, which would throw off another ½ dB. I could shift things around a bit. Anyway, I can... Like, standing here, it just sounds like those speakers are playing. These are playing at such a quiet volume, I can barely tell. It's crazy in that seat. In the big comfy. In the big soft, furry blanket, comfy fucking seat. This is the maddest thing. This is it. This is the end game of audio and speakers. As far as I can... But then again, I think I probably said that like 6 times in the last 10 years. So we'll see where we're at in like 2027? 2028. 2028, I'll have a new theory and the greatest thing ever. But yeah, I think if I swap this DAC, and I could do this test like in 3 seconds. In fact, I will do the test in 3 seconds because we're doing a video. II2S, which is the HDMI plug, which people yell at me because I'm using like a 10-foot HDMI cable. That's going to ruin everything about II2S. It needs a 1-foot cable. Fine, whatever. But I can't, so shut the fuck up. I'm going to plug this in optical, which should possibly change. Like, every DAC has its own internal delay. Let's see. AES, USB, Bluetooth optical. Where's my volume set? 16. Can't keep playing Bob Metzger, unfortunately. I'll go back to the countryside sounds. I could play them. Yeah, it's... It sounds similar, but something's wrong. It's... Timing's wrong. Oh my god, it's so microscopic. Myopic. The fact that optical is probably happening a little bit faster, the processing in this DAC is happening a little bit faster, versus... I didn't have to unplug the I2S. I don't know why I unplugged it. Fucking plug it back in. Why did I do that? Why do we do anything? Oh, because it's 1:30 in the morning. Ground yourself before you plug things in. And even then, the TV screen shuts off from grounding out. Are you dying, mouse? Dude, this mouse has never died. You actually are dying. Holy crap. That's a miracle. Or opposite of miracles. Anyway. So now, if I play... we'll go to 16 dB. Fuck, it went too far. All right, back to optical. 1, 2. It's back. Holy shit. Do you know, like, the imperceivable amount of lag the II2S conversion must be passing off to this to make it now... Do you think it's the quality of the I2S versus the optical? Is it a timing thing or a quality thing? I mean, I have a ton of DACs up here. And some of them sound better than others. This topping is exceptional. This is as good as the Cyan 2, the Holo Cyan 2, as far as like what it can do on the near field testing. But now that's... 1, 2, 3, 4. When I have it on optical, it sounds like there's two pairs of speakers playing. A pair back there that's just doing something, and a pair up here that's doing something. And it isn't becoming one. When I put it to II2S, I need to fix that shit. Hold on. Yeah, oh my god, it's like a completely different animal. You may not be able to recreate this. I may not be able to recreate this. That's like a 60%. It's like 50% more blatant of why I'm recording this video when it's on II2S versus optical. Which I guess that's the best test I could give to prove to myself that I'm not hallucinating. Is I could listen to this on optical and it's like, that's insane. I am listening to Kill La Kill, by the way. It's like it goes from being a television to it looks like I'm at a movie theater with a projection screen, or a fucking play with actual actors. That's the difference between optical and II2S. If it's just a timing thing, I have to bust out a mini DSP, something that gives me incremental timing delays on digital. I have that one upstairs I could steal. Use coaxial digital. Send coaxial digital to the topping DX9 and coaxial digital to this, and then actually adjust the bias delay until I find the exact hundredths of a millisecond. Because I think I can do 0.01 milliseconds of delay. And if they're both working equally on coaxial digital, as far as processing speed, then I can adjust. But then I need to be able to swap both DACs and have it also be the same on every DAC. You probably have to tune the adjustment in such a fine way on any DAC combination you do. Like, you can't just have one DAC and then get RCA splitters and go to an amp and then you're done. The delay needs to be built in. Those have to happen first. These have to be, your close ones need to not make sound until that one has made it. Until the driver on that far speaker has gone, whoop, and then this one has to go, whoop, just like at the speed of sound. You know what? I could probably ask her, what am I, 12 feet? What's the question I'm going to, if I'm going to ponder the speed of sound with Alexa? Oh, God, it's going to be fucking a nightmare. It's like, how fast? I want to know the actual millisecond delay. How many milliseconds? Echo, how many milliseconds for sound to travel 12 feet?
From answers.com. The fastest senses sound takes 8 to 10 milliseconds for the sound to travel to your mind. Sight sense takes 20 to 40 milliseconds to be processed to brain. Smell is the slowest sense, since the scent waves have to go through your nose before they get to your brain.
There's something I didn't fucking know. Sound we process faster than sight? Definitely didn't know that. Apparently it takes 8 milliseconds, which is still a long fucking time, for sound to be processed to our brains. And our eyes have built-in 20 milliseconds. Didn't answer my fucking question in the slightest. We'll switch to Google for that. How long does it take for sound to travel 12 feet?
Here's some results from the web.
1 foot. 1 foot. Okay, so 1,127 feet per second. So 12 feet would be 12 into 1,200. Let's just say 1,200. So 1/1000th of a second? 127 feet per second. 1,100. Echo, 1,127 divided by 12.
1,127 divided by 12 is approximately 93.9167.
93. I don't know what I just calculated. Someone else is going to do the math in the fucking description. This is not about the math. This is about I got fucking lucky that I could do that. Oh my God, that. I wish this was easier. I do wish that you could produce this. Whoever's watching this, whoever's excited because Zeos is fucking yelling about a thing, I wish it was easier for you to reproduce it. Because it's like proving heliocentrism, that the Earth is not the center of the universe. It's like you have all this data and this belief, and it's like, but I need you to have it. It's not enough for me to have it. I need you to have it. If you don't have it, then I'm the only one that has it, then I die. I need you to have it to carry on the myth of this. Whatever the fuck here is happening. I'm trying to think. To do this in a commercial sense, if we're going to, let's pretend I'm in a business meeting with, 18 great companies. They all want to work together on this. This would have to involve a single unit that controls all the sound, all the DAC, everything, including it has to be the amp too. It has to be the amp for the speakers as well. Everything's in one box. All the timing adjustments are one box. And you have to be able to program in distances and then still do fine granular tuning based on the environment and things to get it right. Like how far apart is everything? And then you could probably handle all this. But then that box would cost like $12,000. But you could use any speakers you want. There you go. And then integrate the subs in. And like, then do you do room corrections? Like I'm imagining if I had room corrections built in to something, that would add a delay. And that would fuck things up even more. Or you have to adjust for the room corrections. Oh my God. Oh, I need to stop. All right. 2 a.m. Zeos is losing his shit. So yeah, I want to go back to listening to music. That is fucking big. I guess the term I'm trying to go for is big. That just sounds huge. That doesn't sound like two speakers there. It doesn't sound like two speakers here. It doesn't sound like two subs. It's like a fucking narwhal from some Miyazaki dream is invisible and dancing in front of me. I swear I'm not on drugs. But like that's the sound is no longer coming from a speaker and a speaker or a speaker and a speaker or a speaker and it's coming from this huge thing in between everything. It's literally the elephant in the room. You know what? That's what we're calling this. This is elephant in the room syndrome. When you have, and it only works, by the way, with this layout too, where the speakers that are near field are far enough apart that you still have a dead ear line of sight to the other speaker. Those speakers just happen to work great far apart. I'm pretty sure if I move them closer to the TV, this wouldn't be as cool. Because it's like earshot is here. My ear is straight this way, right past that speaker. So that speaker is just being joined in. It's like an X pipe on a fucking exhaust in a car, where it's scavenging one side with the other. Because as one fires, it pulls with the other, and you get more exhaust to come out because they're helping each other. That's what's happening here. Welcome to a 35-minute long insane rant in Zeos' basement for no reason. That's why the second channel exists, by the way. Please tell your friends about it. Like I'm looking, and I'm like, that's coming. That's David Chesky, Club de Soul. This is Back Again, or what is it? Back Again, and it sounds like it's coming straight from that speaker, only it's not. Because it's about 3 inches to the left of it. Because this speaker and that speaker is sharing, and that bongo man exists in real time. Real bongo man. Actually, there is a song I want to hear. Because there's one song. Fuck, I'm gonna forget the name of it. Oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, I realize I don't have the cover of my mouse, so I can't actually click it. I'll change the battery now, I swear. Oh, crap. What's the name of the song? Where's my sound demo test? Shit. It's not on my new sound demo. It'd be old demo tracks. Oh, it was the one that's out of phase. Oh, I can't remember the name of it. It was a song I played at an audio show on a set of carbon fiber omnidirectional speakers. So it was 2 carbon fiber with cones that were like 12 inches high, shooting in all directions. And it fucking ruined it. It ruined everything. It was the worst sounding thing I've ever heard in an audio show, and it was my fault. Why can't I remember the name? It's like something and something. Oh, can I remember the band? You people know what it is. I told the story before. That's wild. That's Mother's Song by Carl and Parissa. This sounds like... It's like shaky. It actually sounds closer to me than either of these speakers. That's nuts. But I'm wondering what really, really weird phase music will do. Like out of phase tracks. This is technically Epic Score, which just means they'll take all my money. Because I thought Epic Score was supposed to be like free, copyright free, but nope. Anyway, there's a definite... God damn it. I'm going to spend the rest of the night thinking about what song this is. Imogen Heap, Hide and Seek. I found it.
Where are we?
Because this song, the left and right... in other words, when you play music in phase, you can get that center image, that really clean center image, because those speakers are playing the same thing, and if they're positioned properly, it images perfectly in the center. This song, Imogen Heap, Hide and Seek, has the singer out of phase. So you literally look in the middle and you'll hear nothing. They're all supposed to be coming on the left and right, which is why it fucked up that omnidirectional set.
What the hell
However,
is this crowd?
this sounds like she's dead centered. That's weird. I think it might be breaking this song. Let me lower this down. Go right back to the end.
Be happening when busy street.
I don't know what's happening with this song. I'm trying not to get copyrighted also.
The sweeping insensitive.
Okay, that just sounds fucking weird. Great, but weird. Oh my god. The note weight is just like it's like adding a rocket booster, but the rocket booster is 3 feet from your face and very gently boosting the rockets. I just want to listen to music. I wasn't going to make this video until I watched anime on it. All right? Does that help understand anything? I don't want to spoil Orb because it's such a good fucking show, but
あら、何も信頼できないと？全然そんなことわかる。何を隠そう。
talking over there,
私も少し前までそう思っていたよ。
getting
だ
bigger.
が私は見つけてしまったのだ。絶対の信頼を受ける希望を
All right,
ね。
now at
知りたいか？いや、特段。
for fuck's sake. At 17 dB down on these, I could hear his voice at the level of the TV. Like it's further back because Mons are amazing. But now he's just speaking and it's starting to get closer. Wish my house wouldn't bang like that. It's very weird. Alright. I keep hitting Alt space instead of space.
単なる建前を言ってくれたまえ。知りたいです。
I'm gonna go back to that talking scene.
だが、忌憚なる建前を言ってくれたまえ。
Too forward.
ないです。
Too forward. 12 is too far. So it actually looked like I was able to adjust it from like 70 to 12. 12 is just right here. So I want to bat that shit up. So let's go to like 15, which is where I was before. God damn it.
No.
If you ever wanted to watch an anime about 14th century Poland, Orb. Orb. On the movements of the earth. Orb. It's exactly how they sounded in 14th century Poland. Go watch, please. It's a beautiful fucking show. Yeah, I'm gonna stop this video and I'm going to just watch, absorb this fucking wild shit. Gushing over magical girls. I bet it never sounded so good.
私がこの町を守る魔法少女は今町山ゼンタ一人なんです。魔物から
Yeah, no, I'm kind of tempted to go pour myself a big old bottle of whiskey and shoot mescaline into my veins and then just listen to fucking music and watch TV, because this is weird. This is the best thing I've ever heard, and it has nothing to do with the quality. I mean, obviously, I picked these speakers and I purchased those, and the company gave me these because I told them what they done with DAX. And Leo, I know from Orchard. There's a lot of good components in this setup, and I don't expect anyone to go out from a video on my second channel and spend like 20 grand on fucking parts. But holy shit. This. If you can recreate this to the levels I'm hearing it right now with any hardware, whether it's headphones and some speakers, or some cheap speakers and some speakers, or an existing setup and something you're just putting in front of it, try. All right? I can go and have my friend bring his 3D scanner, and we could just 3D scan the entire environment, and you could have it all laid out so you could try to match it perfectly. I've put a lot of effort into that setup, and by effort I mean I put the speakers there and they just are the best, so done. And then this one was a little bit more tricky to get like working, and this has a purpose. I usually don't use this. This went like a month and a half without me turning it on, because I'm like, I don't need to test any DACs today. And I would just listen to those speakers. I'm like, wow, these are super impressive. And now that DAC, II2S, perfect amount of delay. This is insane. And the problem now is I got to invite people to my fucking house to hear it. Oh, it's the worst. Anyway, Patreon subscribe star are now my main means of fucking support. So thank you for supporting me on that. If you're not, consider it. $7 a month lets you see reviews early, participate in yard sales, and get the loss of sound demos. You know what? I'm going to publish this video on Patreon. I don't usually do that with second channel videos, but I want the people who are paying me to know how crazy I am, and that meds are probably going to be real expensive to fix this problem with me. But yeah, do experiments. That's basically the moral of the story. I had a whole rant years ago about height dominance, which was to make the speakers taller than you, which is the reason the Doom stacks exist, and these left and right, other than being perfectly in line with where the TV is, and therefore that's when you have a movie playing and the car goes, woo, it should go directly right and not like down. With these speakers, if I'm watching something with it, there is a tendency, because I'm not using a center channel with them, that the center image arcs up a little bit. I mean, there is a center channel down there. So there's all sorts of weird concepts that I've got in play right here, at least for surround sound, and now for stereo listening, and now for near field, soft near field listening, and now this, whatever the fuck. What is this, elephant room? Elephant in the room? I don't think of a fucking heliocentrism. Some sort of weird fucking wiggly air, man. Golden said it best. All we're doing is obsessing over wiggly air. And this is the best wiggly air I've ever heard. All right, we got to come back. I'm sorry. This video was over. I thought this video was over. I was ready to be done with my thing. And then I was switching back to optical, and I'm like, wait, something's wrong. Something's really different. Turns out, one of the reasons why this was working is buried deep in the menu of this, not like normally. There's an II2S phase reversing setting that was set to normal and not reversed. So when I switch from optical to II2S, it's like, oh. It also reversed the channels. So I'm like, I switched the XLRs, and I'm like, okay, that's correct, but now something's wrong. And so I've actually physically, I set it to reversed, which fixed the channel swap. And now I've set the phase on the actual wires on the speakers backwards. So these speakers are now officially playing out of phase, but the DAC is now correct. The DAC was out of phase, which was causing the timing to be perfect. You feel me, dog? That's why optical sounded like shit, and II2S sounded amazing. So when I fixed it in the menu, everything sounded kind of back to normal, like what I expect and don't really want. And I just now, 2 minutes ago, it's now 3 in the fucking morning, reversed the phase on the speakers with the reverse phase set on this to correct the channel sides. And now we're back. just we're back. So literally, I didn't need to record this section for you because, as far as you know, nothing changed. But it changed for me, and I wanted to tell you that that's a good way to test, actually, if you're using passive speakers, and you need to adjust timing. Just like on a subwoofer, there's a phase knob. Well, it's either a phase switch or a phase knob. Basically, what I did is I flipped a phase switch. So positive's now in the negative, negative's in the positive, and that's going to help time align a very broad stroke of time alignment. So, yeah, that's why this is working. There's that much of a difference. I thought it was going to be microscopic, and because the II2S processing was slow. No, it was literally fucking reversing the phase in these near speakers. Which, there's nothing wrong, technically, with doing that, like, permanently. If you reverse just one, then your shit's all fucked up. But if you reverse both, then instead of going out, they go in, and technically you shouldn't be able to really tell it's a thing. I don't even know why it's an option buried away. Like, you have to literally shut the unit off, hold the power button, turn the unit on, then you got to come in here, and you got to go... Yeah, I2S has phase, reverse, or normal. Then the DSDR LRAC or data, I have no idea. Oh, it's 3 a.m. when the lights go off. Then the DSD flag is 15 or 14, which is the option that's not in the KN. And then there's II2S mute, which I'm imagining just mutes the mute high, low, or off. I don't know what those mean. I got to figure them out before the review. Anyway, so yeah, that was the thing I changed. So now, save and exit. So now, we're back to what I was enjoying, because I fixed the thing, and then it broke the thing, and then I fixed the thing again. Anyway, that's it. Just know that you can change the phase of your near speakers to correct for some timing issues if you want to try that. Because, you know, it would be at different frequencies, would be the different distances, the sound would travel at a certain speed. So, yeah, no, just try swapping the phase and the near speakers. Yeah, now it's back to perfect. It went from perfect to imperfect to back to perfect. Just wanted you all to know that. That's it. We're done with this video again. Thank you for support.